Maxwell used to spend the summers on the Cape, and Maxwell had been my father's closest friend. I grew up knowing him. We lived on the same country road in outside New York City, and Maxwell and my father would commute together into the city for years. So. At a dinner party one night in Wellfleet, I heard somebody some lawyer or some banker or something like that say, so Mr. Maxwell, who's the greatest writer in America? And he said Joseph Mitchell. And I thought, what? Who is Joseph Mitchell? So I began to look into it, and I actually, in those days, this is of course pre-internet days, and the reason that Maxwell said that is that he and his wife were reading through an old collection of Mitchell's, so it was on his mind. Later, it was a remark that came back to haunt him unhappily through me, but so I wrote to the New Yorker and I asked if I could please be, buy some issues that had Joseph Mitchell pieces in them. I guess I'd gone to the public library and said I'd like to buy this, and they sent me back a note saying I could have the issue for August 4, 1947. It was $350, and I could have, January 17, 1962. That was $250. So I had a $1,200 bill for 6 issues or something like that. They knew perfectly well that I wasn't going to buy it, but gradually I got his books and began to read it. And as I said, I sort of was curious about it. Maxwell never gave me any. I don't remember Maxwell. Yes, he did a wonderful thing for me once. Sort of in the first year we were working together, maybe I came to visit him in New York, and I got sick, and so I was in his apartment for several days. And he went out to the bookstore and bought me a number of books. And he bought me Anna Karenina, A Passage to India. I can't remember. There were about 8 of them altogether. I can see them on my bookshelf. He bought me a collection of Chekhov. But, things that you just had to know and be acquainted with. And so... I read my way through those, and that's the only time I really remember him sort of suggesting things to, and obviously, he had edited Salinger, Updike, Cheever, Nabokov, Eudora Welty, Shirley Hazard, every writer of stature that had been through the New Yorker, practically, had been one of his writers. But I don't, he gave me also, at a certain point, he gave me a copy of A Sport and a Pastime by James Salter, and In Patagonia by Bruce Chatwin, both of them because they're written in the first person. And he knew I was trying to write a memoir kind of. They're, I don't know if you ever read A Sport and a Pastime. Wonderful book. And it's a novel, but obviously very close to some actual experience. And Chatwin's is a kind of odd travelogue of going to Patagonia. But they're both first person, and I was trying to work my way through the first person, and they give you examples of how to write, how to handle the first person without sounding precious or self-important or, a kind of effortless means of doing so.